Bills and Chiefs will square off again, but this time in Buffalo as the Bucks look for another upset. Hey everyone, welcome into another NFL breakdown. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Postmedia sports betting columnist Don Brennan and Toronto Sun NFL writer Dan Bilicki. Time to get there against the spread picks for the Divisional Round. And Don, we'll start with you. The Buffalo Bills got the job done last week against Pittsburgh, but now have a little bit less rest against a Chiefs team that easily disposed of the Dolphins. I doubt the weather is going to be as bad as it was a week ago in Buffalo, so I don't see any postponements in the cards, but the Bills are 2.5-point home favorites. It's the third time these teams have met since 2020 in the postseason, and Buffalo, of course, is 0-2. Is this finally the year?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would have thought I would have been a lot more confident before the rash of injuries, a new rash of injuries that have hit the Bills from the Steelers game. As late as Wednesday, they had 6 starters that weren't practicing. Now, we don't know who's going to show up and who's not on game day, but they've overcome injuries throughout the year. They've overcome a lot of things. They've won their last 6 games to get to this point. There's a lot that's impressive about their character that they've shown so far. Now they're facing the defending champs. You got Patrick Mahomes coming off of his worst season as a pro, but not his fault, I don't think. I mean, that's the receivers. I've never seen a group drop as many passes, including Travis Kelce, who's clearly distracted by his famous girlfriend. But this is also Mahomes' first, as you know, his first road playoff game. He's in the playoffs. He's 12-3, 36 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. Even more impressively, though, the numbers that I like about Mahomes as a starter, when the Chiefs are underdogs, they're 8-1-1 with him at the helm, and the only time they didn't cover, of course, was against Buffalo in 2022. You know, I hate to say this couldn't go either way. It can go either way. It's a flip of the coin game. I do think it's only fitting that at some point in time the Buffalo Bills are going to step up and they're going to knock off the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have just been, great defense, just a little too inconsistent on offense for me this year. I'm going to go with the Bills and to take one more step over that adversity mountain.
All right, Dan, following their first round bye, the 49ers, 9.5-point home favorites against the Packers, who embarrassed the Cowboys in Dallas. Sorry about that, by the way, but can Green Bay do it again this weekend?
All right, so the biggest worry here for the Niners is that the Packers do just what they did to the Cowboys, getting up early and never looking back. If that's the case, the Niners have been historically bad under Shanahan at producing comebacks. But with a week to recover from some of those bumps and bruises, this 49ers team will be fired up and ready to come out of the gates. Green Bay's defense is a real sore spot, and it can be exploited by a solid game planner like Shanahan, with Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Brock Purdy running the show. Joe Barry's defense group is going to be exploited big time. The Packers are going to have to lean more than ever on Jordan Love, too. San Francisco's run defense is one of the league's best and should be able to contain Aaron Jones. While the Packers are more than a happy to be here team, this will be the end of the road for one of the youngest teams in playoff history. So, but they can really build up this coming up. I think the Niners roll here.
Speaking of youth, Don, C.J. Stroud impressed last week in his playoff debut. Going to get a tougher test this week as the Texans will take on the Ravens, who are also 9.5-point favorites at home right now. Does Stroud have some more rookie magic up his sleeve?
What a spread. The 9.5 points in a playoff game. Oh, my. Anyways, I mean, we got to look at Lamar Jackson, I think, first and foremost, about to pocket his second MVP award. Another great regular season. But the dark cloud hanging over Lamar, as we all know, is his postseason record. 1-3 in the playoffs, completing just 56 of his passes, throwing 3 TD passes and 5 picks. And a note that was brought to my attention this week, in those 4 postseason games, in the first quarter of those games, Lamar has led them to exactly 0 points. So it's the slow start that's gotten him. The Ravens are a better road team than they are at home. They're 7-1 on the road and 6-3 at home, and they were only 5-4 against the spread this year. Where you got the Texans are scrappy, 4-1 as a road dog, 6-2 against the spread, and games started by C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud, somebody we have to just touch on briefly. He's played two do or die games. He's played in the last 2 weeks, and what has he done? He's completed almost 77% of his passes. 5 TDs, no picks. a rookie. He doesn't look like a rookie to me. He looks like, I don't know, better than Lamar Jackson to me. I don't think the Ravens are going to lose this game. They've got a lot of experience. I like John Harbaugh. He's done a great job over the years. And the Texans are a team that are on the rise, inexperienced, but I do think they're going to keep it close. I've got a 24-20 Ravens victory here with the Texans covering.
All right, Dan, wrapping things up, the Lions coming off their first playoff win since 1991. They'll look for another win at home against the Bucs, who picked up the upset victory over the Eagles. Detroit, a 6.5-point home favorite. Which side do you like?
You know what? The Lions had the only real hard-fought win of wildcard weekend there, with the rest of them pretty much being blowouts. And they're going to be all the better for it. They scrapped it out against the Rams to hold on for a win and earned another home game for their Detroit faithful. It's going to be very loud in there, and I don't know if the Bucs are going to be able to handle it. Well, there's a lot to like about the Bucs win over the Eagles. Man, Philly looked disappointing. This was a team that completely fell apart down the stretch, and it just didn't show up for the playoffs. The Bucs were the first team in a decade to advance in the playoffs despite ranking in the bottom third of the league in offense and defense in terms of yardage, and they weren't much better analytically either. They're going to be hard-pressed to replicate that sort of effort on the road against a team playing with a ton of heart. One of the players to watch out for is Sam Laporta. The Bucs are one of the worst teams in the league at defending against tight ends, and the rookie has a real chance of coming up huge after shaking off that brutal-looking Week 18 knee injury. Jared Goff is evaluated. He's going to make some mistakes, but I think it won't be enough to keep Tampa in the game here. Go with the Lions.
All right, another exciting batch of games this week. Let us know what you're betting on in the comments section below for all of Don and Dan's NFL picks for the divisional round. Head to the Toronto Sun.